How's it going, Capricorn community? Soul Tigers here with a special story for this wonderful frequency. Alright, so let's get started with the vibe and the introduction. Capricorn, the sands of time continue to flow through our hourglass of life. No matter the outcome of things that have happened, if at any time you feel lost, confused, disconnected, it is time to reflect and see what you have been learning. Denying our lessons will leave us going in circles, always feeling lost. At those times, we are asked to take a few steps back and to look at the tracks that we've left. See what needs to change in order to find the direction that we are meant to go in, Capricorn. Oh my goodness. What I'm seeing for this story, for the vibe, is like what you see on the movies where the people are trying to get from point A to point B, but they have run into a space, into a moment of time where they are lost, going around in circles and in circles. And then they end up finding their own tracks, and that's when they realize that they're lost. But I don't know if you realize that when we deny our lessons, when we deny learning, when we deny growing, that's when we start to get more disconnected from higher up vibrating energies. That's when we start to disconnect from that seed that is from the divine. So be careful, be careful, be careful. And something that popped out right away when I said disconnected was this card right here. Oh my goodness, how fitting. Something that you are at odds ends with, but something else that you are denying. We are not able to pick up the lessons that life, that the divine is trying to teach us. For some reason, we could be having a lot of outer growth or trying to portray we're having a lot of outer growth going on, but there's not much growth happening here. And if you know anything about trees who can't root down deep, they are easily knocked over. And this has to do with something else right here. It has to do with, I am the loving energy of the universe. You not feeling at one with your journey, not feeling at one with that higher up type of energy, the divine energy, whatever those higher beliefs are that you encompass at the core that you deny. This is something that you're not at one with. You're not in love with being in love with the divine. You're in love with the trials, with the hard lessons that you haven't overcame with. And I am being guided to say that because for some reason that's what you're putting out, because you keep going around and around and around and around in a circle and you're not progressing. Sometimes we can fall in love with things that are no good for us. Think about those exes. Yeah, they're exes for a reason. Just like we can fall in love with certain routines that don't fulfill us, that don't feed us, that keep us going around in the same cycle over and over again. And this is actually very fitting because this card was at the bottom of the deck after I was cleansed out. Something that you're very confused on is the dualities of life, the light and the dark, having to move in the dark in order to learn these lessons, in order to be able to find the light. And sometimes we have to go through dark situations. We have to go through the dark to appreciate being in the light when we find it, because if we're always in the light, then what are we learning? It's our shadow side that teaches us so much about ourselves when we decide to confront the fears. I'm hearing to say you have an ancestor that's been trying to reach you. They knocking, but you're not letting them in, and they have so much to tell you. They're very compassionate about you. They see you up at night crying. They know in the back of your mind the thoughts that stew in there and how they make you feel. If you feel like you're alone, you're not alone. Every time you're sitting there on the edge of your bed with your head down, wondering why everything has turned out the way it's turned out, they're there with you. They are there with you, watching you endure these burdens that have happened to you. And the one thing is that you deny the energy side of things. Right now, what I see is you're more engaged in the physical world. The physical world is wonderful. But if you believe you have a soul, if you believe that soul is the direct seed from the divine, then that's all energetic. That's all spiritual. What do you believe when it comes to energy, when it comes to spirituality? Because right now, your belief is everything and only everything that you see in this physical world. That's what I'm seeing. Oh my goodness. Something else here is that emotional release. For some reason, this is something that you really run from, Capricorn. This is something that you are at traditions with denying, with pretending, with climbing the cliffs to get away from, is evaluating stuff. And when you can realize the power in being able to go within and sift through things that make you feel uncomfortable, sift through the things that make you feel like you're a failure at times, in a sense that you trying to go in and shine a light into the dark spaces. But denying, keeping the door closed to things is that denial. It hurts to go within. It hurts to evaluate the things that we fear. But those are the things that need the most love. Those are the things on how we start to honor ourselves and create the growth for us. Oh man. A lot of times what I'm hearing to say is that we live this facade in life where we think we have to be perfect. Our choices have to be perfect, you know. And when we do have those mess ups, we do have those failures. Sometimes living in a state of denial will help us feel less impacted emotionally from the stuff, from the mistakes, from the failures that we've had. And this is something that keeps a new beginning far from you, but also you keep it far from yourself. Look at that. We have to have that emotional release in order to gain the clarity. Think about the times that you've had those really bad storms that were happening, that it rained for days. Now think about the next sunny day that followed. Think about how crisp and refreshing everything feels after that. That is much like what happens within us when we are able to emotionally release things, when we're able to grieve for stuff. When we don't grieve for things, then we stay at odds ends with things. We stay lost. We stay disconnected. We stay confused. Oh man. Give thanks. Give lots of thanks right now to your angels, your ancestors, your spirit guides, divine and universal energy, because this isn't my message to you. This is their message to you. I am merely the conduit. I'm merely the antenna. I'm merely the translator, the transmitter, as well as a helper here for you to get these messages that they've been trying to give you. And as you see, it's quite a bit. It is quite a bit that they're trying to throw out into the present for you. They want to throw out to the present for you because there's been things that you've been following. Maybe certain trends, maybe certain things that are happening now or have been happening since your past that you have been following. But the thing is you're not meant to follow. You're meant to lead. You're meant to create a new direction. It's almost like the situation is the blind is leading the blind. So you are following other individuals that you feel like could be like you, but you're actually different. Your lessons, your purpose is much different than what their lessons and purpose is. So you have to ask yourself, why do you keep in this crowd? Why can't you pick yourself up and lead your life in another direction to get out of being lost? Something else here is being very stuck. Very, very stuck in the present moment, not able to move, not able to invest. For some reason, you could have quite a bit around you, but there is no stability around you. You could have a roof over your head, you could have food in your fridge, you could have gas in your vehicle, but every day you wake up with lots of anxieties. Every day you're waiting for some type of rug to be pulled out from under you. There's no stability, especially when it comes to how you feel about things. Something else here is mentally, you are burdened. You are very burdened with the things that have happened within the different foundations around you. Right now, there's you trying to overly control things, or you're not trying to control anything at all. Kind of just letting things happen has been the fruits. I'm trying to get this to focus a little bit better so you can see that 10 of Pentacles has been the fruits, or what you consider as the fruits. I feel like that is a very limited belief right there. That is somebody who wants to stay stuck in the same situation over and over because they feel like they already have a lack of control to begin with. And I don't know, this has to do with not being able to create clarity in the mental side, but also not being able to see things any differently, especially when it comes to investing in a new way of being able to see things come out emotionally. This has to do with, could be somebody else in particular, somebody else versus what you believe in type of energy, I feel like. And you could be even having a lot of mental games that are happening, but you're kind of doing it to yourself. That's what I feel like, because you're denying that release. You're denying the grief for it. And the more you deny it, the more things get built up within. Think about a hoarder for a second. I'm pretty sure everyone has seen some type of hoarding episode or experience some kind of something from hoarding. Now, what's happening here is a hoarding type of energy. You are hanging on to too much, and it's getting piled up in your inner home to where it's really hard to navigate things. And this is where it really affects your mental health, how you think about things, how also you come into the world and project yourself, how you see yourself, how you communicate with yourself as well, but also the lack of balance that you have with yourself. The whole thing is you're being really hard on yourself for not handling something. And now you're wondering if you should have handled it in a different way instead of doing what the crowd is doing, what the trends are doing. You have to remember that the crowd is very quick to throw anybody and everybody under the bus. Can't blame them really, because we all have this instinct to want to preserve ourselves. That's why I always say that nobody's gonna have your back quite like you're gonna have your back. But if you're too busy following the crowd, then you have the crowd's back. You don't have your own back. And this is something that you need to come into some type of new beliefs with this Hierophant here, when it comes to the people and the things around you. Why are you doing this? Why are you in these environments? Is it because you feel like this is where you deserve to be, with the blind following the blind? Or are you ready to pick up your head and face the higher up lessons? Maybe you're afraid of what the outcome will be. Maybe you're afraid that once again you will be denied, but the divine does not deny. It doesn't deny. You ask for certain things, the divine is going to provide the lessons to get you to what you're manifesting. But at the same time, if you ignore your lessons, you can't out stubborn the divine. Just like you cannot get karma to turn its wheel differently for you, even though you keep making those same kind of mistakes, the same kind of energy of wanting to follow these others. Misery loves company. I would say, and what I'm seeing to say is that you need to step back when you're in this crowd and you need to listen. What is it that you and this crowd are so connected on? What is it about you that keeps you in this area? What is it about you that has you afraid to step outside of this kind of group mentality that isn't very fulfilling? It's not very fruitful here. You're not finding your cornucopia here, but you are finding more type of illusions here, more mental issues, I want to say. And again, those mental issues come in the fact that you're not learning those lessons, so you kind of keep seeing everything as they're seeing it. Be careful, be careful, be careful, because we become the things that we surround ourselves with. That goes to even TV shows. That goes to work life. That goes to family life. And we have to admit, not every family is a non-toxic type of family. Not every friendship is a non-toxic type of friendship. You have to be careful, because a lot of times we'll put this badge on that we need to save the crowd. Why do you feel like you have to save the crowd? That's not up to you to save them. That's up to themselves to come to their own reckoning, to come to their own understanding, to come to a time where they're sick and tired of the same routine. Ooh-wee. All right, so let's call in our angels of protection. Angels of protection, please help guide and keep us safe as we navigate the block here for the Capricorn community. Oh, goodness gracious. Not really much is coming out for this block. I find it really interesting. Maybe because what we spoke about in the present has a lot to do with this block. And these cards right here are reconfirming it. And I feel like that's right on the money, because remember how I told you you're stuck on this crowd. Look at how we have this. If the crowd moves one way, you want to move the way with the crowd. If the crowd chooses to stay stuck, you choose to stay stuck with the crowd. And I feel like right here, this crowd could give you the biggest lesson, but that lesson is you have to pick your head up and you have to stop looking down and just following whoever around, whether person, place, and or thing. Something else that we deny and we're confused on is how to grow. How to grow our very own foundations, especially through one step at a time. I don't know, Capricorn, if you feel like things should come in immediately to you. Like if you choose to step a different direction, then you should reap the fruits right away. Ooh. Maybe that's something that's a little tough for you to navigate, is when you do step out and you step in a different direction, but you're not met with the energy that you expect. then that turns you off to even trying to build. That turns you off to putting in more work. And it's just easier to go back to whatever was happening. Oh, man. Oh, man. So if what I'm seeing is, and to ask you is, if you were stuck in a deep hole that required you to sit there and to think, to strategize, also to fail and to learn from your failures of getting out of this hole so you can see how to do it differently, come up with other ideas and stuff like that, would you be willing to do that work? Or would you simply just sit back and just wait for your undoing, basically? Because that's what it feels like. You're stuck in this hole, and you would almost choose going mental and driving yourself crazy opposed to choosing to do the work to get out of it. A lot of times the work's not going to be easy. The work is going to challenge us, and the work feels like it's going to break us. And what I'm hearing to say is that's the thing that needs to happen, especially with that new moon we had on, or full moon that we had on the 1st of this month, which was Scorpio. Scorpio is all about shedding the old ideas, the old ways of doing things, stepping into this newer phase of ourselves where we take those lessons of the past in order to have created the stepping stones to get to that point. So right here, right now, if you choose to do the work, if you choose to face the trials, the tribulations, the failures, the mess ups that come along with being able to get out of this, being lost, being confused, then you will have a new beginning for yourself. Because don't forget that this is here, but it's going to take work. And something we have here is the Hierophant. The whole thing is you have to bring in a new belief. But you also have to bring in how you're going to handle this new belief. How are you going to handle it? Are you handling this new belief in the light, or are you handling this new belief in the shadow side of things? The light versus the dark. The day versus the night. The whole thing is the more you navigate things through the night, through the shadow side, the more you're only going to see that shadow. But it comes from believing higher up in things for yourself, about yourself, that brings the light to the dark. And right here, this is something that you need. You need help. You need help, but it's not from this crowd. This is the only kind of help that you can get to from within yourself, from how you think, from how you feel. The whole thing is if you deny higher up beliefs, then you deny higher up beliefs for yourself when it comes to things that you want to move towards. Think about that too, Capricorn. Oh man. This is really, really rare. Usually I don't navigate the shadow side with only 3 cards, but that was such a powerful message. Only using 3 cards. And what I'm being led to tell you is you don't need the most to create the change that you want to go towards. With the new moon in Taurus is all about identification with substance. The things that we really want, but the things that we also put around us in a sense that we gravitate to as our success. And sometimes it's really hard to balance that out, because sometimes we become dissatisfied. We become ungrateful for the things that we have, which makes us feel like we're without, which makes it easier to follow the crowd. Careful, careful, careful. 24/24 as I ended that last part. I usually don't call out times like that, but hey, I'll call it out today. Alright, so let's call in divine. Divine, 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 and universal energy. What is it? What are the guiding messages that you have for the Capricorn community. Oh my goodness gracious. All right, let's see if we can keep it sweet and simple. So when it comes to teaching, when it comes to opening your eyes to the divine lessons that are being presented to you, I have this. It says, when I accept the love of the universe as my primary teacher, I will always be guided back to the light. But you have to accept that you're going to have these lessons. And it's not to punish you, but to help you grow. Grow to where you will have more stability, to where you could be better rooted in yourself. So when these trials come through, when these lessons come through, it's not easy to knock you over. Very beautiful right there. And when it comes to getting unstuck from this crowd, I always trust the direction of the universe and know I'm being guided. The universe isn't going to navigate you to go jump off a cliff. No, the universe is going to navigate you where you're meant to be, towards the purposes that you're meant to go. Now, does it take climbing up some cliffs? Does it take climbing down some cliffs? Yes, but it's never going to take you to a blind cliff and just lead you off of it to your demise. How can you learn to start to put your trust in the divine? That's one thing too, because if you're asking for things to be done, if you're asking for guidance, but you don't trust the divine, then how are you going to receive the guidance from the different energies around you, from your ancestors, your spirit guides, your angels, your ancestors, divine and universal energy? This is why your ancestors are a little frustrated with you. Because you're like a horse with the blinders on, only focused in what you see in front of you and not taking into consideration what is happening around you. Oh, you have to be careful. You have to be careful. When it comes to building, when it comes to higher beliefs, when I think I've surrendered, I surrender more. You know what? It's okay. It's okay to get upset because your expectations didn't work out. It's okay to have a life where you felt like you fell on your face for a good part of it, where you made mistakes. That is okay. Because you know what? That is you growing. That is you acknowledging. That is you having to go through tough trials, tough lessons, which builds resilience in you. How can you look at your life as not being cursed, but one that can help you plant the seeds for later fruition of things for yourself? A lot of times we get caught up and we think it's too late. How can you surrender that outlook that it's not too late? That there's still time to go and there's still things to manifest. There's still things that you can wish for and work towards. Something else when it comes to higher beliefs, getting to those higher beliefs, getting to a different place on when it comes to how you handle things in your kingdom is I honor how I want to feel. Following the crowd does not honor this. Following the crowd with the crowd mentality means that you have to dull your shine quite a bit to fit in. How can we step back from wanting to crowd please to stepping into wanting to understand how we are, who we want to be, what we want to be? By first honoring how we feel at the core. Does this crowd really fit you? Do you really fit in this place? You know, was that saying just trying to get in where I fit in? I could put myself into some places. Where I'm trying to get in where I fit in, but it doesn't match. And the only way to really fit into those lower vibrating places is to take my vibration lower and lower and start to mirror the way that they feel about themselves. Mirror their anger, mirror their negative projections. The whole thing here is you can get into places again and you can force yourself to fit, but is it actually a good fit for you? And we have this last card here is the presence of love will always outweigh fear. And I think that is really beautiful because this lands on the Emperor. The Emperor is Aries type of energy. Aries, Capricorn, you both are headstrong. Very, very headstrong. And sometimes you find it really, really hard to head towards these new beginnings, especially when you're really stuck in the shadow side of things. But the whole thing is Aries is all about conflict. The things that we get conflicted with that are really, really rooted within us. How can you start to head towards these conflicts to start to assess what the fears are? Are the fears of losing the crowd because you really think that this is the only place that you could fit in? Well, then I'd have to ask, how much do you love yourself? Do you love yourself enough to know that you don't need to sacrifice your abundance, your cornucopia, your future for a crowd that doesn't even wish that same, abundance for you? Do you love yourself enough to pick your head up and to step out of where you are not meant to be for your whole journey? Can you love yourself enough to go within and to start to sift through the different things that you need to grieve out? Sift through the different things that you felt like you felt about. Sift through the different things that you want to encompass when it comes to the future of your journey. Because you do deserve more. Everybody deserves more as long as they're putting in the work for it, in the love, the light, the compassion of the divine. Just like everybody who sits here and does work in the shadow side of things in a negative way deserves everything that they manifest into, because karma's going to hit the way karma's going to hit, and that all depends on what you're doing, Capricorn. Oh my goodness gracious. Don't forget that in order to appreciate the light, we have to have the dark. Those dark times where we have to learn how to be more rooted in ourselves by overcoming the burdens that we're faced with. Those burdens, that we need to grieve out some things in order to learn how to honor ourselves in the light. To get us to that new beginning that comes at a higher belief. Stepping out of the crowd mentality. A lot of times we only feel like this is our places that we're going to be, especially when it comes to the different foundations around us. When we want to build, trying to hang on to things because we're afraid to let it go. But the thing is that's what keeps you away. That's what keeps you trying to hold on to things that you're not meant to, control things that you're not meant to stay in. And this is what, again, takes away from the fruitations of the future. It's time to explore one step at a time. When it comes to, I'm looking for this certain card here, but I'm not finding it. When it comes to how you want to see things for yourself in the future in a more positive direction, wanting to invest into that direction is something that's going to be also emotionally driven through the things that you want to be passionate about, through the different examples that you will set for others who are not up to that level just yet. But you have to get focused and you have to get unstuck on following whoever, whatever this is. And you have to encompass something that's really hard for you, Capricorn. And that's honoring how you feel. And that is the one thing that's going to help bring in more love so that you can confront those conflicts that are rooted in your fears. It's all one step at a time. One step at a time. Surrender the expectations. Surrender, surrender, surrender. And start to trust in the divine. Trust in your guidance. Trust in your ancestors and spirit guides and what they're trying to tell you. And you're going to be able to tune into that guidance when you can become unstuck, undisconnected, unconfused. But again, you have to learn the lessons here in order to reach that. Oh my goodness. This is going to conclude it. Thank you, Capricorn, for sharing this story with me. And don't forget to thank your angels, ancestors, spirit guides for coming on in and helping out. And especially thank divine and universal energy, because guess what? It's never given up on you. Even though there's times you're giving up on yourself, you're giving up on your dreams, the divine is not giving up on you. It hasn't. This is why you're still here in this experience. And as always, I hope that you have a most wonderful rest of your day.